Hi everyone, how are we all doing? Another video. My dump trailer came with an option to have a wireless remote, which I opted not for at the time and realized quickly that it's definitely something that is nice to have. When you're dumping the trailer, you know, using your regular controller here, you back up and, you know, say you have a full load of mulch and you go ahead and dump it, put the dump up, and what'll end up happening is you're going to have to move the truck forward, especially on a dump trailer, because the back of the dump trailer is actually basically touching the ground. So it's not like a high dump truck where it has plenty of room to fall down and pile up. So you kind of have to move the thing forward as you dump, which is a pain in the neck because you're holding on to this thing. You know, it is almost long enough to reach inside of the truck, but you know, then you're dragging a wire over there through the door and opening the door. It becomes this whole mess. So wireless remote would be definitely the way to go. Most trailer manufacturers offer that, I believe, when you buy them. The cheapest I've seen is about 160 bucks up to 200 and something for that option. What I did is I actually picked up a remote kit from Harbor Freight. It's $39 at Harbor Freight if you use a coupon or catch it on sale. You can get it down to about $29. I think I paid $28 for mine. It's basically a kit with a little transmitter. It's got a plug in it, and you look at the plug and think at first glance that it might just plug right into here and you could, you know, replace this remote with it. You can't. It's a different pin configuration. So this is the controller that came with the dump trailer, and by doing the add-on that I'm about to do, you can still retain this as well. Use them both. It's not one or the other, which is nice. So I've seen other people do this before. There's an extra step involved with a little more technicality if you have power up and power down. Most, or I should say all dump trailers are going to have power up, which is the motor runs when you hit the up button. Okay, but a lot of dump trailers are just going to be gravity down, which means the motor doesn't actually run when the dump body goes down. This switch is actually not supposed to be, but it's kind of a two-way switch. When you push it a little bit, it releases the pressure, and then you push it a little bit more, and then it fires up the motor. I'll show you to allow it to go down. Okay, I can actually simulate a gravity down with this. I'll show you. If I just push this button just a little bit to release the pressure, basically it's a two-way switch just to hit the first part of the switch. I can get it to gravity down without hearing the motor run. Watch. Oop. It's a little touchy. See how I did that without the actual motor running? Okay, so on this controller, there's 4 wires that come out, okay? And, you know, one of them is for your up solenoid. I don't know which one's up and which one's down, but these are the solenoid, the valves basically that direct the hydraulic pressure, you know, up or down. So one of the wires goes to flip on one of those. The other wire flips on the other one. One wire is power, and the other wire goes to the motor. Okay, so no matter which one of these buttons you push, it supplies power to this motor to make that run, and it also, depending on which button, will trigger either this solenoid or this solenoid. 4 wires. Okay, now when you buy your remote kit, it also has 4 wires, and I have it laid out here. Okay, we have 4 wires coming out of it, but instead of having one for one solenoid, one for another solenoid, the power coming in and the power going to the motor, this has an actual ground. Okay, so the unit has to be grounded to work because it's its own circuitry as well. whereas the hand controller doesn't need a ground. It's basically just opening and closing a circuit, so it doesn't need that. So this actually has a ground and a power which runs everything, and that power gets directed through either this or this, depending on up or down, which in this case, this is designed for a winch, so it would be in or out. Okay, so the problem we have is, let's say we hooked it up, okay, ignore this here. We put our ground on, okay, we put our positive on, okay, so then we hit the in button or the up button, whatever we want to call it, and that directs power through, say, the white wire. No problem, okay? We also need to fire the motor. We need the wire to go to the solenoid, and we also need it to give power at the same time to the electric motor. No problem. We'll just create a little Y. Let's pretend this doesn't exist, and we'll hook up. Boom, we're connected to the solenoid, and now we're connected to the motor. So we hit one button, power comes in, fires the motor, dump goes up. No problem. Problem solved, right? Then you've got the down button. Same thing's going to happen, only on the other one, okay? Power goes through here, right? That's going to tee off. It's going to fire the down solenoid as well as the motor at the same time. Okay, the problem with that is both of those are going to connect to the motor somewhere. They're both going to have to connect to the motor in the same place. So what happens if you hit down, for instance, and the power is coming down here, where it's connected, it's also going to feed back up into this wire onto the other side, which is going to, in turn, fire the up solenoid. So if you hit the down button, it's going to activate the down solenoid and the motor like it should, but it's also going to activate the up solenoid because it's going to the same place. That wire is going to the same place. So what you do to alleviate that issue is you put what's called a diode, or two diodes in this case, which are these little deals here. You can get them in a pack. I just got these on Amazon. I'll put a link up if you want. I believe they were just 15 amp load power capacity, DC up to I think 25 volts or whatever they were. You know, they make them in all different capacities, but you know, you just get something that's sufficient enough. It doesn't have to be exactly the power that you're using. You just want to make sure it's sufficient enough. This whole package I think was like $7. So you know, these things are under $1 a piece to buy. So what these do, it's actually kind of like a valve. It allows power to go through the diode, but it does not allow power to return back through the diode. So in this situation, the way we have them hooked up, if power is coming down here, which is also teeing out here, this is going to go to the solenoid, and then this is going to go trigger the motor. When this triggers, it's not going to back feed up through and fire up the other solenoid on the other side. Okay, so by putting these diodes in, that eliminates it. So we're allowed to put power through, okay, to activate the motor like we want to. Whether it's this side or this side, it's going to go through either diode and activate what it's supposed to do. However, now that this wire will be live where it connects here, each diode, depending on which side you're on, is going to prevent the power from going back up into the opposite side to connect. So this is what I came up with. This is the unit you get. Like I said, it's about 29 bucks with a coupon. You get this little transmitter unit, or not transmitter, this would be the receiver. Wireless winch controls. You know, we're going to use it for a dump body. You know, it's a really nice unit actually. It's built well. It's got you know, rubber gaskets in it, you know, to make it waterproof. You know, not waterproof, but weather resistant. So isn't the controller? It's pretty rugged, really nice. You got your nice positive feeling buttons. I just pulled the stickers off because they just say winch, you know, in, out, all that. You don't need any of that. We just basically need, you know, up and down. I'll probably just take a Sharpie and just write in up and down right here. Not that you wouldn't know the difference, but so what we have set up here is very simple. I did add an inline fuse in here just for some, you know, safety. Even though this wire is black right here, this is actually the positive, as you see here. So we're going to wire this right into the battery positive in the front of the dump trailer. We're going to wire this in as your ground right there in the same spot. Then these are going to click onto each of the solenoids for the up and down. And these little connectors have a piggyback connector, which is going to allow me to take the connectors that are on there now that are coming from the handheld controller, which allows me to use either or at the same time. So plug this in and plug the factory wires into each of these. So nice and simple there. And then this one wire is going to go to the solenoid on the motor that activates it. to allow this controller to work for up and down. So let me go ahead and get this installed. I got some heat shrink connectors, more just for security other than you know, weatherproofing, because it's all going to be inside of a box. So you can see I have a mix of connectors that aren't weather tight and some that are. So, but let me just heat shrink these up and neaten it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and install this in the box, and I'll show you how it's all hooked up and how it works. Just did all the shrink tubings on these, or the shrink connectors, just to tighten them up a little bit. One thing I wanted to mention before I install this into the trailer: if you have a dump trailer that is, you push the button for up and you obviously hear the motor go, and you push the down button and you don't hear the motor, in other words, a gravity down system, where basically it just releases the hydraulic pressure to allow it to go down, you know, from gravity. You will not need these diodes and all this extra piggyback stuff. You'll end up just doing your negative, your positive to run this whole thing. You'll have your one wire, which is for up, which I believe is the green wire, but you can check either one. Doesn't matter if you get them backwards, you just have to reverse them. You connect your one wire to your up solenoid along with a jumper that fires the motor, okay? And then the down is just going to go to the solenoid itself to activate it, and you won't have a jumper because it doesn't fire the motor at all. So there'll just be a single wire that connects to your down solenoid, and you won't have to worry about diodes or backfeeding or anything like that, because it's only going to fire the motor in the up position. When you're going down, it doesn't turn it on, so you wouldn't need these diodes in that situation. All right, let me show you how simple this is to hook up. All right, we got our unit here. I'm just going to place it down here for now. I'm just going to grab one wire at a time. This is going to be our starter actuation wire, which on the solenoid, you've got one gray wire right here, which is a ground. All three of these are ground that are connected here, which are going to ground out the solenoids, as well as this the solenoid valves, as well as this solenoid. Not all solenoids have a ground. Sometimes it's just grounded through the body, but this one has a ground right over here, and then over here is the actual positive that fires the solenoid off. So this would be your positive, this would be your negative. So this is our positive, okay? This is going to give us the power that we want to go to the solenoid. So let's go ahead and hook that one up now. This white wire that's on here now is just coming from the handheld controller. So we're going to go ahead and connect this right in with the other one. Like so. Okay, here's one wire. Got our ground wire right here, which is many places you could connect it, but in this situation, after I move this positive cable out of the way, I'm just going to connect it right to the same. Just going to move this out of the way. You don't have to take this cable off, but I'm just going to move it. Make sure we don't touch anything with it. And here's the other terminal right here, which, like I said, is the ground in this situation. Okay, so I'm going to take that, connect that right in here, tighten that down. Okay, so the only thing we have left now to connect is we need to piggyback on each of the solenoids, and then the actual power wire right here. Okay, so I am going to wrap these up so they're safe from shorting out. So the power, okay, this is our power wire coming from our battery that goes to the solenoid. This other side, this is only going to be switched. You don't want to connect it to that. When the solenoid kicks on, it connects this terminal to this terminal. This is the feed, and that goes to the actual motor. So we want to connect in right here, And we've got like a double nut connector here, so let's see if we can't connect right under here where this other one is. It's that whole terminal. Okay. Okay. So that's our power wire with our fuse. Just trying to make this nice and neat. Okay, we're going to plug that in right in here. Okay. Let me move the camera over so you can see what we got going on here. Alright, we've got our power wire right here, which is getting battery power right through this cable right here. Probably oversimplifying this, but for people that aren't familiar with this, trying to give you a good look. And now all we have left to do is these upper terminals. Okay, the bottom terminals are the grounds, these two bottom red ones, and these two top ones are the positives. So all we got to do is just take off. Now, I don't know which one's which right now, so I'm just gonna give us a good guess. I'm gonna go ahead and put terminal on there and then reconnect the original so our hand controller still works. Come on. Right on like that. Okay. Same thing here. Now you know I'm probably going to have it backwards the first time. Be amazed if I get it right the first time. Okay. Make sure none of these wires are touching. Like I said, I'm going to neaten this all up. Maybe put it in a loom. And now our unit should be active. Let's give it a shot. Okay, I got it backwards, so that's supposed to be up, but I can hear that it's down, so let's try the other way. There's our up. And there's our down. So now, obviously the benefits go without saying, but you could be back here raising it up and kind of watch what's going on. If you're mulching out of the back and you need to add a little, stick this in your pocket. And as you're working your way through the pile and you want to dump a little more angle, have this puppy right in your pocket. So for 30 bucks plus, a couple of wiring connectors, or the diodes or buck or whatever, very, very inexpensive compared to the alternative if you have it. So something you can do yourself, pretty simple. I just wanted to share it with you guys. This other stuff, all this other wiring is just the charger for the battery. There's a lot of extra stuff in this trailer that we don't even really need. I never plug this in. I might even take this battery charger out and use it for something else, because I'm never going to plug it into house power. All buttoned up, neatened up. Kind of zip tied the controller in this little unit here for the receiver, transmitter receiver. Got the wire running over here. These are the diodes. I just kind of taped them all up nice so it sealed them off. Got the fuse right here if there's ever an issue. All nice and neat. I reversed the up and down that I had backwards originally, so I'll show you. I'll show you a couple of things. First off, that the original controller still works. Down, up. At the same time, you can use this one here. This will be up and down. Range seems to be pretty good on it. I don't know. I think it's 50 feet or something. But we're all the way 30 feet away. Working fine. This would be nice to have. You could be right in the cab of the truck and be pulling forward and tailgate spreading, whatever you need to do with this controller. So, another good idea. I don't know if you guys have one of these or not, but you can pick these up at Harbor Freight. It's just a little solar charger that you can plug into the battery. I just run it out of here when it's not in use and sitting, and I stick it right on here. And I think it's like a 1 amp charger. It's a very small little charger, maybe even be under an amp, but if your dump trailer sits, you know, a couple of days on end, this will basically keep it topped off. You know, you don't want to use it to completely charge the battery. If you're dumping, you know, 5-10 times a day, it's not going to keep up with that load. But it is nice if your dump trailer sits for any length of time to keep the battery full, so when you do go to use it, your battery's got full power. So, starting to rain. All right, have a good one. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, like it, dislike it. Have a good one, guys.